everyone. I'm Shadow, and I wanted to put out some last minute predictions for Deltarune Chapter 5. This is really, really last minute, and I don't really have time to make a proper video or edit. I was planning on doing that, but I just don't have the time. So yeah, let's just go over them real quick. I'll upload this and let this serve as a reference I can go back to. Okay, so I think that there will be a Chris and Azrael flashback in Chapter 5. I'm not sure if if I think this would include Des and Noelle or anything, but I feel like with very high certainty that this will happen, that there'll be a Chris and Azrael flashback. This would actually probably be ironically enough, the one I'd say I think is most likely. Okay, so I think we all kind of are guessing at this point that the secret boss will kind of be more Ralsei themed, kind of like Chapter 4 was Susie themed. I think it's going to be something similar to Flowey trying to tempt Ralsei to embrace the dark side, because Ralsei clearly has a dark side that he's kind of suppressing. I think it'll have an effect that does damage over time to Chris and Susie, and Ralsei will have to heal them, and they'll have an act that lets them all fight together. I think you'll have to win it through fighting, but I think that you'll be able to use your other party members. Okay. I think that Rules Card is going to stage a rebellion in Castletown where you have to fight your recruits, and in Non-Pacifist where you don't have as many recruits, it'll be easier. And I think that it's possible you'll be able to lose your recruits here. I think that Noelle will fall into Castletown and Ralsei will make a room for her while we're at the festival. I think that Ralsei's room is not fully decorated until the end of Chapter 5, when Chris and Susie and also Noelle will all come together and help him decorate his room, which will be really cute to see if that happens. I think, surprisingly, there won't be any Titan spawns or the Knight in Chapter 5. Maybe just no Titan spawns, but yeah. At least I don't think the Knight will appear directly. I think that Chapter 5 will have another shop UI and another proper shopkeeper. I think that Redbuster will be present for the final boss. I think that the final boss will be Asgore fighting us as a challenge to prove our strength and show him that we can handle the threat on our own, and we have to convince him that he doesn't need to handle everything himself just so we don't have to feel the pain. I think that Asgore might have an alternative way to stop the roaring. I feel like his plan might not actually work, and he doesn't know that it's impossible for him to do it himself, because the prophecy specifies that it has to be done in a certain way. Anyway, let's see. I have some notes here. I think the chapter will end with Chris, Susie, and Noelle standing at open bunker doors, ready to go in. I suspect that Chris might be the one to end up giving Susie the bunker codes. Because otherwise, we'd have to get all the bunker codes, and the Knight clearly already has them. And I think that, I think that it would be, such a cute moment if, Chris finally decided to open up and, properly help Susie. And help his friends, or help their friends. Sorry, not... Why'd I even say his? I think that, guys, don't flame me for this. I think that it'd be such a cute moment if Chris opens up and decides to fully side with their friends and help them over the night. And yeah, especially because otherwise we'd have to go back to the Holiday Mansion, and we wouldn't even know to do that unless Susie wouldn't. I'm not sure if Susie knows about that code, actually. Maybe she does, but I don't think she does. And then we'd have to get all the other codes. For some reason, we didn't ever see the church code, which I found pretty interesting. But maybe we'll get that when we go back for Jackenstein, because we're gonna have to go back for Jackenstein in Chapter 5. I also think that Father Alvin will have like some dialogue when you interact with him, where he'll be like, um, he'll be like, um, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. I think he'll have some dialogue where he'll be like, I wonder who could have done this, like who vandalized my church or whatever, and he'll be like, I wish I could file a police report, but the police chief is gone, and the other officer is kind of, not the best, or something like that. Just of course I'm, phrasing it much differently than it would actually be, but yeah. I think it's something like that. You get the idea. I feel like it's possible that Ralsei might not be able to come with us to the bunker. Or maybe he's just like absent for like a part of it, maybe. I don't know, but I feel like for some reason he might not be able to get to the bunker entirely. This would be more of a chapter 6 prediction, but I feel like eventually Chris is going to intentionally sever their connection. And I feel like Chris will like intentionally sever their connection, and we'll get the playable vessel. Oh, and also a vessel prediction. I think that they're gonna that their like party member color theme is gonna be like based on like the color we chose at the start, and like their acts are gonna be like different, like based on what we choose at the start, and they're gonna have like their own magic and everything. And I also suspect that once Chris and us as the player vessel like meet and like reconcile, I suspect that Chris will be jealous that we can use magic and they can't. Because like we're probably gonna have like times where we'll be like on our own as the vessel, and of course we'll need like pacify, like some sort of magic, especially pacify, unless we'd have like some other way to deal with that. Actually, I do feel like it's possible that it's not Chris that gives Susie the bunker code, but actually Asgore, because Asgore would have all three. He probably has connections to the church, or at least I'd imagine he does. He obviously has connections to the mayor, obviously has connections to the police force. I feel like it's very likely that he would. And so maybe he gives us the shelter codes. Anyway, I feel like chapter 5 is going to have a giant tree somewhere. I know, very original prediction. It's like definitely not like, very generic, but I very much suspect it'll happen. I suspect the chapter 5 boss is going to use the purple soul. Like specifically, it might be like an upgraded version, and it might like have like lines that like you can go on both axes, and like I think that would be like really cool. I suspect that'll be like the soul gimmick. Anyway, yeah, I think I've gone over everything. Anyway, yeah, that should be all for now. If I have any more, I'll say them before the start of my Deltarune stream, because I'll be streaming a playthrough of the entire Chapter 5 completely blind. So, yeah. And just for reference, I've heard that there are Chapter 5 OST leaks. I know nothing about any of them. So, yeah. I have no info on that. Yeah. And what was I gonna say? I will say though that I might end up playing chapter 5 a bit later after it releases. So it's possible that like some of the predictions I'll throw out before I start the stream, like if I have any that I forgot to mention here. Like it's worth noting that if that happens, then like I won't have like seen like any of what happens, so like they'll still be like completely blind. Unfortunately, you'll just have to trust me on that. My schedule's like kind of a mess, but in any case, I'm throwing out these ones here just in case I can't get around to that. So Yeah, I also hope that my chapter 5 stream isn't completely dead. I think there'll be at least a few people who show up this time, thankfully. I hope to see everybody there, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I am really, 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 really excited for this. Okay. I don't think there's anything else I really have to say. So I guess for now, this is Shadow signing off. See you when Chapter 5 is out. Remember, Deltarune tomorrow. For real this time.